Blog Talk Radio.
Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroads where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future. Shedding away the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition, not exactly its remarkable ongoing reality.
Welcome to Transition Radio.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Angelo Cummings, your host.
And I am Lynna Lopez, your hostess.
We're broadcasting live from the beautiful land of enchantment, Silver City, New Mexico.
We wanted to take a moment to thank our sponsors, thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you can imagine to enhance your feminizing needs.
As well as Spunk Lube, which is an award-winning personal lubricant that's glycerin-free, non-staining, 100% sex toy safe with all materials, and it's fun to use.
Visit their website at spunklube.com to check out their amazing line of products.
And if you use the code TR, you're going to receive a 10% discount.
And if you enjoy our show, please tell your friends and neighbors. Share our website and donate if you can.
Well, today is Wednesday and is health and nutrition. We ran across this article that we found pretty interesting, and I think you all will too. Can you really eat more and lose weight? That's the typical question, Counting your calories. Everyone knows that cutting down on your calories intake can help you to lose weight. But sometimes this is the worst thing you can do when you're on a weight loss program. In fact, there are times when eating more will help the weight to come off faster.
Recently, someone asked me for my views about the amount of daily calories they should consume and whether a 800 to 1,000 calorie intake can help to speed up their weight loss. I thought this is something you'd be interested in, so I'm going to share my thoughts with you as well. You've probably heard this many times. Consuming too many calories makes us overweight. Of course, this is true.
Both eating less or exercising more will most definitely result in weight loss. I wanted to point out that weight loss pound per pound is not the same thing. When you get on the scale, you can't tell if you're losing fat or if you're losing muscle. And if you're losing muscle, that is the kiss of death because your metabolism will slow down. The article continues to read. It's a simple matter of arithmetic. If your calories out is more than your calories in, you will lose weight. Thus, it becomes very natural of us to think that if cutting calories is such a good thing, then the more you cut, the better, right? Well, no. Doesn't this mean that we'll lose the excess weight even faster? In reality, it is not so.
Making a too drastic cut in your caloric intake is a very, very bad idea. If you've been dieting for a while, you would notice that the extremely low-calorie diets have been around for the longest time. But interestingly, most of the time, they don't lead to permanent weight loss.
Nonetheless, I've heard people discussing diets that recommend as low as 800 calories a day. I'm here to tell you that this kind of low levels is downright dangerous for your health. According to weight loss experts, cutting your intake down to or under 1,000 calories per day sets you up for an inevitable failure.
Why? Because when you reduce your caloric intake down to this low, you're actually sending your body into starvation mode by eating far too little. In simple terms, your body will start to think that there is a famine, and in order to maintain your weight while it thinks you are starving, your body's metabolism rate will actually slow down.
And your body will then start to store the calories into your fat cells instead. Whenever you restrict calories below the level that your body needs to function, your body senses senses starvation and switches into conservation mode. The more you restrict calories and the longer you diet, your metabolism will slow down further, and the more, I'm sorry guys, cold and my voice is leaving, the more your fat cells will fight back.
Don't forget, you need your metabolism to burn your fat into energy for your body to function properly. Besides, there is another reason why extremely low-calories diets won't work. It's not an easy feat to stay on it for long. Dieters have gone on these extremely low-cal diets would also experience unfavorable side effects such as headaches, weakness, lightheadedness, and a reduction in their levels of concentration.
Finally, when you experience extreme hunger, the next thing you'll tend to do is to binge eat. Guess what? In the end, after all the initial efforts you put into losing weight, you will actually gain back more weight than you've lost during the diet. And the worst thing is, the next time you try to go on a diet again, your body gets smarter and the fat cells will expand more to store more calories as they're getting ready to go through another famine.
Your metabolism will also be reduced tremendously. You'll find that you're not able to lose the weight as fast or as easy as the previous time. And you'll get frustrated because you've had to deprive yourself of your favorite foods. So what do you do next? You overeat again. So stay away from those low-cal diets. They aren't worth your time.
See, what most people don't realize that you actually get fat, not because you're eating a lot of food, but because you're eating food that have no nutritional value in them. They're dead calories. So you're eating, and you may consume 5,000 calories, but your body is not getting any type of nutrition. Hence, the body starts to get fat because it just stores and stores, and it's hoping that you put something in there that's going to give you some sort of nutritional value.
Well, so basically, this article states that doing a low-cal diet isn't worth it because the opposite, the same thing happens. The body goes into starvation mode, and it can't do what it's intended to do.
And it's a natural mechanism that we have inside our bodies, because back in the day when we didn't have 7-Eleven drive-thrus, McDonald's, and all that great things, or not so great things, if we didn't run across food for a few days, the body would automatically kick us into starvation mode. It saved our lives. Because food wasn't readily available like it is now.
Right.
If you didn't come across a tree with fruit, or there wasn't a pond where you could fish, or you couldn't hunt or whatever, you would have a problem. Therefore, you went into starvation mode, and that allowed you to take you through.
Right. Well, there's another article that talks about processed foods, and we all know that they make us fat. Processed foods do. But now science provides 2 new clues as to why. Very interesting. It's no secret that more people are overweight or obese than not these days. Like you were saying before, the average kid back in the day when you were going to school was what?
It was, you would see the odd kid was the fat kid. Everybody was skinny.
Right. But the question continues to be why the rates are increasing despite so much health knowledge about healthy eating and exercise. While overeating is not technically an addiction, it certainly mirrors a disorder in many ways, and as such, it's the brain and behavior research that's really providing some of the best clues into the obesity crisis. This may not be so surprising, since after all, it's the brain, rather than the belly, that controls our relationships with food.
Talking about it's not the belly and the brain. Many people go get this gastric bypass surgery to shrink their stomach into walnut size, and it's not the stomach that has the issue. Right. It's your brain. You have issues with food addiction. You need to really get rid of these addictions and take a look at create a new relationship with food. Bottom line, food's not there as a rewarding system. Food's not there because you're sad. Food's there to give you some sort of nutritional value.
So basically, stapling your stomach, there's nothing natural about that.
Nothing.
What is your body going to do once it realizes that it got stapled? It's going to try to go into
Starvation, though.
Yeah.
And their hair started to fall off. They get all sorts of vitamin deficiency. And at the end, I've seen a lot of people whose stomach have grown back to the normal size because it's very elastic. You know, it's not like some sort of whatever. And then, hey, they went through all that. They got sick, and now they're back in trouble. Back to the same. Now, a new study does a formal assessment of which foods are the most addictive to humans, and it's exactly the ones you think. In the new study published in the journal PLOS ONE, the authors argue that, like drugs, when foods are very highly processed, they start to become more potent and therefore addictive. For instance, chewing a cocoa leaf doesn't give a very strong high, but condensing it into a cocaine and making it snortable sure does.
So, too, with foods whose elements are refined and combined in various clever ways. Food labs spend lots of time on these calculations until they become very high potency. This article is telling me that these companies are, at this moment, deriving ways in which to poison the population by making them more addictive to highly addictive ingredients.
Because they're in the business of selling products, and if they make you addicted to the products, then you want to buy more. It's kind of like the drug dealer that gives you a free sample of the drug and hoping to get you addicted so you go back and buy some more.
Right.
You know, food is a drug.
Yeah.
You know, and people don't realize it, but it's never meant to be the way it is.
Addictive substances are rarely in their natural state, the authors of the new study point out, but have been altered or processed in a manner that increases their abuse potential. For example, grapes are processed into wine and poppies are refined into opium. A similar process may be occurring within our own food supply.
To this, look at the processed food effect in humans. The team had participants gauge their tendencies towards food addiction by filling out the Yale Food Addiction Scale, which asks people to rate phrases like, over time, I have found that I need to eat more and more certain foods to get the feeling I want, such as reduced negative emotions or increased pleasure, and I spent a lot of time feeling sluggish or fatigued from overeating. They also had people make a series of choices about which of two foods they felt they had the most trouble controlling themselves around. For instance, a muffin versus salmon. From these results, the team composed a list of foods from most to least addictive.
Interestingly, at the top of the list were foods that are high in both fat and refined carbs: pizza, chocolate, potato chips, cookies, and ice cream. In the middle of the list were generally foods that are high in either fat or carbs, and brown rice, apples, beans, carrots, and cucumber fell at the bottom.
The ranking suggests that it's really the combination of fat and carbs that make food addictive. And this is probably because our brains are not used to coming across foods that are both high in fat and high in sugar. Natural foods are usually high in just one or the other, so putting these two ingredients together into some wonderfully unnatural and magical combination makes the brain go wild.
To make matters worse, processed foods often have additives that can themselves cause weight gain from another angle: gut microbes. Another new study in a magazine called Nature found that emulsifiers, detergent-like compounds used to keep the food like mayo from separating into its separate parts, oil and water, even at low doses, can cause massive disruption to the gut bacteria of lab mice.
So for years, experts have been telling us to drop the highly processed foods in favor of as many natural and plant-based foods as possible. The public seems to be listening, at least a little, as sales of fake foods are starting to fall off. It's one of the things that I enjoy about this raw food, vegan diet that we have just started.
Right.
This is one of the reasons I'm like dying here, because I'm going through major detox. What happens is when you give your body the proper types of foods, and it's just foods that the body doesn't have to work so hard to break down, your body starts to release the old mucus. I was an ex-smoker, and right now, my body's working through all this nicotine. My throat is killing me. My sinuses are up the wall. I've got these massive headaches, but these are things that I have to go through,
right,
in order for my body to cleanse and in order for my body to start reacting normal again.
Well, I'm having withdrawals right now, from not being able to eat the foods that I've normally been accustomed to.
But see, you have a major allergy problems. Your nose is always constantly sniffling, and you have a distended belly.
Yeah.
Which means that the microbes have gone. No, it's just distended belly, and the microbes have gone through the gut. You know, there's bacterial imbalance that you have in there, so it's important. You know, it's like enemas. As you're doing this, to get all that toxin out, to get all that old mucus. You were you drank milk a lot when you were younger.
Well, yeah, when I was younger, but later on in life I didn't as much. But last year, for some reason, I thought that, you know, and even the year before that, I thought that just by going to drinking water and eating whatever the heck I wanted to eat, if I exercised, that I would be fine.
It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately, it's like the myth of counting calories, or it's like letting your body heal itself. Don't count calories. Eat foods that are natural. Eat as much as you possibly can. Let your body repair itself, and the weight will come off, and your body will take you to the appropriate weight you need to be at. Besides eating healthy, sleep is an important factor, which a lot of people don't realize. They stay up late at night watching TV, working on their computers, being on the phone, et cetera, et cetera. Our bodies run on a clock, and after 11 o'clock at night, our body starts to detox, so you need to sleep. We found this article that talks about the key to deep sleep is in your mind. Getting a good night's sleep can be challenging, especially as we age. About half of all older adults report sleeping difficulties. This can make them more likely to experience physical or mental health conditions, memory problems, and falls. Here we go again. It's sinus drip.
I'm so sorry. Should I continue?
Please.
Due to poor balance. Older adults also have a less deep amount of sleep than younger people, and their sleep is more easily interrupted. As we age, our body clock or circadian rhythms change. We have a less consistent pattern of feeling sleepy and awake. We also feel sleepy earlier in the evenings and wake up earlier in the mornings. Medical conditions commonly experienced in later life and the medication used to treat them can also interfere with sleep. Treatments for sleeping difficulties include medication for short-term relief and psychological treatments such as cognitive behavior therapy.
Short for CBT. Helps people to change unhelpful
thoughts and behaviors that contribute to poor sleep. While CBT is very effective for clinically diagnosed insomnia, not everyone with milder sleeping conditions and difficulties needs such an intensive treatment. For some people, sleep quality can be improved by learning relaxation to reduce physical tension and worry. Another approach that is showing promise for improving sleep is to learn mindfulness.
Let me see if I can do this some more. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness involves deliberately focusing on what we are experiencing, thinking or feeling in the present moment without negatively judging our experience. We can learn mindfulness by becoming more aware of where we are, focusing our attention. Mindfulness is the opposite to absent-mindedness or being an autopilot, like most people run their lives. Like when you read a book and realize you haven't paid attention to what was written on the last few pages because you were too distracted by planning tomorrow's activities. Mindfulness also involves deliberately focusing on things we don't normally pay much attention to. You may have experienced mindfulness when you've listened intently to a favorite piece of music and deliberately turned your attention to the sound of just one instrument.
How can mindfulness help sleep? The findings of a recent published article study led by David Black from the University of Southern California suggest that practicing mindfulness might be particularly helpful for improving sleep quality in adults aged 55 years or older with mild sleeping difficulties. The mindfulness program involved taking part in 6 two-hour group classes in between 5 and 20 minutes a day of home practice. The researchers found that adults who completed a structured mindfulness program showed greater improvements in sleep quality than adults who completed a program that taught them good sleep hygiene habits.
Counterintuitively, the way that mindfulness may influence sleep is not directly through relaxation, because mindfulness is about waking the body up and becoming more aware. By learning to be become more aware of present moment experience. We learn not to react to thoughts and worries that can interfere with sleep. We still don't know exactly how much and what type of mindfulness practice is needed before a person notices improvement to their sleep.
But research suggests that regular practice activates the parts of the brain that help us experience our environment through our senses rather than through our thoughts and worries. Here are some tips for practicing mindfulness. Practice mindfulness regularly in a quiet place where you won't be interrupted. It's best to learn mindfulness outside of the bedroom because to learn the skill, you first need to learn to pay more attention to your present moment experiences rather than to go to sleep. There are a number of ways to start practicing mindfulness.
One of them is listen to a mindfulness meditation CD, an MP4 audio, or a mindfulness application.
Take part in activities that encourage mindfulness such as yoga, Pilates, walking, Tai Chi, or running.
Undertake daily activities such as cleaning your teeth or washing the dishes in a mindful way by focusing on the experience of doing the activity.
Enjoy the experience of eating in a mindful way by using all of your senses and keeping your attention on the food.
Try not to pressure yourself to get the hang of mindfulness straight away. The goal of mindfulness is not to judge your experience. If you notice your attention straying, you can gently bring your attention to what you're focusing on, such as your breath. This is almost like meditating. You're staying present. You're not thinking about what you did yesterday, what you're going to do tomorrow. When you're doing something, whether it's eating, creating, writing, washing your dishes, brushing your teeth, become one with what you're doing. This is something I practice often.
I think I remember from the old movie Karate Kid, where Miyagi taught the young kid to wax on, wax off, and to concentrate on what he was doing. And I think, again, this all comes from that Eastern culture.
Yes, in America we're used to multitasking. Let's get as many things done as once.
Let's pick everything up fast and through the drive-through and get it over with.
You can't do anything right when you do it that way. You're not really devoting and respecting the activity that you're doing.
So we're not supposed to eat in our cars?
No, that is not good. You're not supposed to eat in front of your computer. Yeah, no, because Americans are being drawn to slavery, and they don't even honor their bodies. They don't even honor themselves. They want to do many things at once, and the key to a healthy life is good nutrition, good sleep, and being mindful, being one, being present.
Even when you're brushing your teeth.
Even when you're brushing your teeth.
Like thinking about the bristles.
Yes, and the stroke, and you're looking at your hand as it's going up and down, and just it's a very great practice for spiritual wellness, for creating good eye-hand coordination. You're really focusing. When you're trying to do things and let's say you're on your iPad, which most people are on your iPhone, and you're walking down the street and there's a hole, boop, your ankle gets, twisted, or just you don't do things the right way when you're trying to do too many things at once. Staying present is very, very healthy for you, your mind, your body, and your spirit.
And it keeps you upright.
And it keeps you upright. And it lets you sleep well at night.
Right.
I mean, that's the key. That's why a lot of people are insomniac. They're thinking about, you're there to sleep. You're not there to think about what you're going to do tomorrow or what you did yesterday.
But the medical, community will then give people something for their sleep problem.
The concept, you give us all these gadgets. We're constantly being bombarded by TV, by iPhones, by iPads, and the nervous system is getting overly taxed. We're not created for that. Our makeup is not for that. That's why we've got all these insomniac. We've got all these people who are anxious. They got all sorts of mental disorder. It's because of the life that we are leading.
I had a friend who we went to Israel, and in order to get on the plane, for him to get some sleep, he wanted to take some kind of, prescribed sleeping drug, So we got to Israel, and we had to, totally smack him to wake him up because the drug is so potent that it knocked him out completely.
That's crazy. Anyway, we found this article regarding, is this the world's oldest burger? Man claims to have kept McDonald's Quarter Pounder for 20 years.
Gross.
Yeah, that's pretty gross. Two Australian men claim to have the oldest burger in the world at a staggering 20-year-old. In 1995, that is staggering at 20-year-old. 20 years old. There we go. In 1995, Adelaide residents Casey Dean, 14, and his mate,
Edward.
Yeah, his mate, Edward. If I could just find the... Okay, now we're having problems finding the cursor. I lost the cursor. 13 stopped off at their local McDonald's to pick up some burgers. Among them was a Quarter Pounder with cheese they bought for another kid. Well, that kid never turned up, but they didn't eat his burger.
Now the boys have become men, and the burger has turned 20. We're pretty sure it's the oldest burger in the world, Mr. Dean said. It started off as a joke. You know, we told our friend we'd hold his burger for him, but he never turned up, and before we knew it, 6 months had passed.
The months became years, and now 20 years later, it looks the same as it did the day we bought it, perfectly preserved in its original wrapping. But the Heartbeat Burger is not the only long-lived Mickey D. It's in existence. The last McDonald's cheeseburger ever sold in Iceland is still going strong and mold-free, 6 years after it was bought by a burger lover.
That's so gross.
That is gross.
You know, because I remember a study that was done with a French fry and stuff, and they had an orange next to it. And, you know, it's like a mom doing this little thing with the kids and stuff, you know, for a science experiment. And they saw that after only a few days, the orange had been eaten up by bugs or whatever, and then the fry was going strong after months later, because it's really not food. I mean, the McDonald's French fry is basically high carb, high fat, and basically, you know, it's not really meant to be nutritional or to provide any basis for, you know, feeding you.
They actually add some sort of chemicals to the, I think the oil, the fry itself.
They make it extremely salty too, yeah.
Addictive.
Well, the fast food giant shut up shop in Iceland in 2009 because it said the country's financial crisis had made it too expensive to operate. The country had just 3 branches there, all in the capital of Reykjavik. Jordur Marsson, 28, waited until the end of the last day when his local McDonald's closed and made sure he purchased the very last cheeseburger together with a portion of fries.
The burger, which other than looking slightly shriveled, remained in remarkable condition. It is now on display at the bar of the hostel in Reykjavik. That's crazy. Yeah, what was that guy who did Super Size Me or something that ate only McDonald's or was a Burger King?
He got really fat
and got really sick, you know, and that is, I mean, that's not food.
But how about the Subway guy, Jared, who used, you know, Subway sandwiches?
Well, what he did is he probably ate less than 900 calories a day because
there's plenty of bread.
Yeah, but if he only ate like 2 sandwiches a day, it did not equivalent to more than 1,000 calories. He was a big dude. He probably needed like 3,500 calories to maintain his health. Yeah, he was depriving himself, and I'm sure he's overweight now, if not more, because again, he's following that low-calorie diet.
I did see a story where he was actually
overweight,
kind of big.
Yeah, and it's like low-carb diets; they don't work. Your body requires carbs, people. Your body requires all that natural sugar.
So I can have muffins?
No, in fruit.
Oh.
Muffins are not natural. I mean, muffins are loaded with fat and carbs, and they have fat.
Oh. I guess that's bad.
Very bad. Oh, my God. I can't wait till the detox ends over. It's like I have this constant sinus drip, and my throat is on fire.
It's so bad for you.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for Friday. It's relationship and spirituality. So, our affirmation for today is...
Eat to live. Don't live to eat. It's important that we realize that food is there not for our pleasure, but for our sustenance.
Exactly. It's there to provide us with nutrition and the good calories that will provide us the energy to get through our day. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in.
And if you can't live your truth,
then it's just not worth living. Good night.
Good night, everybody.